Welcome to another midweek chat. I'm your host, Jasmine Bryant, brand visibility coach and the founder of Fear No Video. And I'm super excited today. So we're a little behind schedule because we started this chat well before we actually hit go live. so so we will see how this goes. This is going to be epic. So joining me today is Kaneshi Hart. She is a corporate escapee, hashtag goals, turned podcast host and speaker. She's the host of the Coach Up podcast and the Achievement Accelerator Accountability Club. I can't read my own handwriting, so hopefully I got that right.
It's a mouthful. It is.
Well, I mean, and it looks like someone broke my fingers and I'm trying to write with like my tongue or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's bad.
It might have been early morning. Things might not have been operating correctly yet. It happens.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that out. Thank you for
Absolutely.
that out. I appreciate that. So before we get started, tell everyone just a little bit more about you, who you are, what you do, who you serve.
Yeah, no, Jasmine, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much. When we talked and decided that I was going to get to just be in a chat with you, like a midweek chat, it's just so much fun, right?
Yeah.
Like as a podcast host. So I host a podcast called Coach Up, and I also speak. I talk about how you forge through fear, and I am starting. So for those of you all who are listening, I'm starting an achievement accelerator accountability club, right? See, it's even a mouthful for me. I have this thing with A's.
Yeah.
I just want everything to start with the same letter.
I love
But as a podcast host, right? Thank you. Okay. As a journalist,
Yeah,
thank you.
I can.
Right. But as a podcast host, right? Like I'm so used to having a conversation where I'm typically asking questions. So when you said, oh, let's have a chat, I was like, oh, that will be fun. So I'm very excited to be here. But now I've told you a little bit about me in the midst of all of that, and very, very excited to get into this and just have a fun conversation.
I am too. And it's really funny because we're both used to asking the questions. And even when we were chatting just to get to know each other a little bit and see how this would go, it was really like, well, no, tell me about your life story. No, tell me about your life story. So it was but I knew it was going to be a great conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. And today we're talking about forging through fear, and I think that's something. Sorry, I've got like things going on over here. I don't know what's going on.
Are you good?
All right. So we're talking about forging through fear. And I think it's something that's so important because as, like for me as a brand visibility coach, visibility is important. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part of that entire phrase, because if you're seen, you get paid, basically. If no one knows you exist, good luck getting a paycheck from
Right.
your practice, your business, whatever it is that you sell or do. And fear is what stops so many people, which is why my company's Fear No Video. Because, it's like you've got the fear of being seen, the fear of success, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment. I mean, we could go on and on and on about these fears.
Yes.
And so one of the things I'd love to know from you, as someone who specializes in helping people get over this, get out of their own way, basically, I'd love to know, like, if there was a time where you had some fear as a business owner, an entrepreneur, a coach, a speaker, you're a multi-hyphenate of amazingness. And so you had this fear. How did you face it? And then how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so you know what? I will talk about what's going on now, right? Because I think sometimes, and I know this as a podcast host, I ask similar questions, right? And so often we go back in time because we went through it, we mastered it, we came through this success story. And there are those, and I have those, but I'll talk about even just now. So how I'm forging through the fear. And I say, yes. Okay. So as a born again believer of Jesus, follower of Jesus, I believe that fear can be overcome through him. I also believe the reason I say forge through fear is because fear attacks all the time, right? And most people are not going to overcome it, unfortunately. But you can go through it. And that's the action portion. So right now, like even right now in my business, Jasmine, there's this, as I talked about, I want to start this achievement accelerator accountability club, right? I need to say that like 30 times so I have the name down. And part of it is I have to ask people to join something that they don't know anything about that is providing them a service, but there's going to be a cost, right? At some point, I don't know if I'm going to charge initially or do a free cohort and then charge. We're in the testing phase. But the fear that I have is, Jasmine, nobody's going to want to do this with me. And that translates into, I don't really want to reach out to people because I'm afraid they're going to feel like I'm selling them something, which technically I am. There will be a cost. Accountability doesn't work if there's no skin in the game. Or they'll feel like I'm bothering them. And so how this fear is into an action, what I've set for myself, Jasmine, is I've said, I'm going to send 1,000. I don't know why I set these humongous, massive goals. This is the timeline I give myself. I'm going to send 1,000 videos in the month of July to people.
Okay. So how many is that a day? I don't do math. I'm a journalist. I can't.
So that's 250 a week. It's 250 a week divided by 5. So 50 a day. Okay. We're on day 3. I've sent none. Okay. We can make that up. But the fear is, again, I don't even want to do the action because I'm afraid of what people may say, which is illogical because I know there are going to be people who say no. I know that there are going to be people who don't respond. I know there are going to be people who look at it and are thinking, why is she bothering me? Yet on the other side of those 3, there's also going to be people who say, oh my goodness, I don't ever do the stuff that I say I'm going to do. This could be life-changing for me. But the fear has kept me back from actually creating the video. And I'm going to tell you something else that we do. Y'all know y'all do it because I'm not the only one in this world of 7-8 billion people that does this. Then we make up excuses that underwrite our fear. I'm going to give you a good one. So while you look fabulous, I'll say I look fabulous because you're supposed to say good things about yourself. Okay. This is not the type of hair that I would love, right? Like I need to go. We were talking earlier before we got on here. You're going to take a trip probably at the beauty salon soon when you, and I need to go. My excuse that is undergirding my fear is that when I get my hair done, then I'll do them because I want to show up on video well. But that's just feeding into an excuse, right?
Yeah.
And so how I'm forging through that is I'm putting on my calendar. So Friday is my content day, right? That's the day I create content.
Okay.
So putting on my calendar on Friday, I will make the video. Now, the ideal would be a personalized video where every person I send it to, I personalize it, name, that type of thing. But just to start, so I can stop allowing fear to hold my future hostage, actually forging through is action. I'm just going to make one video. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be short. And I'm going to send it to at least 50 people that day. Nobody may respond. Somebody may. But that's what I'm going to do. So that's an example of how I tackle forging through fear. Yeah.
No, I love that. And so it's funny because, my whole life is video, right? And I have a lot of those thoughts that go through my head as well. It's like, oh, but my hair's not done, so I can't do it today. Maybe tomorrow. Like I'm doing a hybrid course for network marketers where it's part it's a 90-day coaching program where it's part video, pre-recorded videos like for the course, and then after they watch the video later in the week, we have a live session. And so I've recorded half the videos ish because I'm like, well, I don't feel like doing my makeup today. I don't feel like doing my hair today. And I haven't been to the hair salon because of blah, 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 blah. And I think, dudes have it easy, right? Because they'll just pick up a shirt off the floor, sniff it. Well, nobody's going to see it, smell it on camera, and then just shove it on, dust off the wrinkles if they can, shake off the wrinkles, and then just go ahead and do it. And
Right.
they can look like, chopped liver. And they're like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. This is me. It's fine. And we have all these things in our heads
Mhm.
that are holding us back. It's like, but this isn't right, and this isn't right, and I've got to do this, and I'm afraid to do it. And then
Yes.
we tell ourselves these stories like, no, we've got to stop. So I love that Friday, which is in 2 days from now.
2 days.
2 days from now, you're going to record your videos
Mhm.
and your video, at least one, right?
At
And then
least
send it
one.
out. At least one, then send it out. And so clearly you need an accountability partner.
Which is the whole purpose of me starting this, because don't we, so sometimes when we start businesses, it's because it's what we need.
Yes.
I need accountability partners. I'm starting an accountability club. I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. So.
No, you're not. You're not. And when we talked about this before, it's like accountability is hard for me, right? Because I can think of 85 different things at once that I want to do, and I'll just jump in and start doing here, 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 but then nothing gets finished. And then there's no one holding my feet to the fire to make me finish. And as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, ooh, I owed my VA something for the past 2.5 weeks.
Oh.
Neither of them have said, hey, you owe us this, right? You have this project that you need to get done. So, yeah, I think I need to join your accountability club.
And you're talking about that, like the procrastination, that's a form of fear, right?
Mhm.
And so one thing that I talk about is fear is disguised as so many things. Procrastination is one of
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah.
Because as we get down to it, like, Jasmine, what's the real reason you haven't sent that project? Like, what's the real reason? Do you know?
Wonder. I mean, I would say maybe it's laziness, but I'm anything but lazy. I have
Right.
85 things going on at once. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe is it overcommitment? But overcommitment is another form of excuses.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Or do I just not want to sit and figure out what it is that I need to? I mean, like once I sit down and do it, it shouldn't take me more than 10 minutes to do it. That's the thing. It shouldn't
But
take
2.5 weeks later.
2.5 weeks later. I keep moving it from this notebook is
Mm-hmm.
full of to-do lists. I just keep moving it from page to page to page,
Yep.
and it is not gotten done.
Mm-hmm. See, this is where I think, okay, so I think there's some underlying things that we just don't think about, right? Like you said, if you sat down and did it, it would probably take you 10 minutes. But I don't even know how many minutes there are total in a day, but however many minutes there are in a day, times 2.5 weeks of it worth, there's a whole lot of thousands of tens of
Yeah.
thousands of minutes that you only need 10 to get this done. But we push stuff off because, and legit, okay, sometimes we have to-do lists and, it's priority. Some stuff's just not going to get done. But some stuff like
Yeah.
this, like I say, okay, is it because I'm not sure what the outcome is going to be? Like if I start this, I'm afraid it may or may not work out the way I want to. So if I just don't start it, I'm pushing off the potential pain that I'm
Yeah.
afraid of when the project gets started, when it gets finished, what may come of it, that type of thing. Right. And those are the types of thoughts. And there's a number of ways you could look at that. But those are the types of things that make me say, when we're not doing something, what's really the underlying driving force? And we have to admit, it's oftentimes it's a fear of something. It just may be you got to connect the dots 4 levels down
Yeah.
of what it may be. But when we do that, we can say, okay, great. So I recognize it. And that's part of forging through fear. Is it
Yeah.
Alcoholics Anonymous? I don't, okay. I want to say admittance is the first step, or You got to
Oh,
get
I
out of
think so. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's the
You
same
have
thing.
a problem. Yeah.
You got to admit you got a problem, right? And so we got
Mhm.
to name the fear. Why am I
Yeah.
feeling anxious? There's some fear that's
Mhm.
underlying that. And when we do that, then we can say, okay, I may still be afraid of it, but at least I know what it is. All right. And so now what do I do to counteract that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to put that 10 minutes on your calendar.
I know, right? I'm going to think about it while I'm taking my little drive to Whole Foods.
You've been thinking about it for 2.5 weeks. What else do you need to think? You know what you should do, Jasmine? Oh, I'm gonna help you be accountable right now. Before you go to Whole Foods, you should you should send that in. You should get it done, get it off your plate. Yep,
I
before you go.
should. I should. I should.
Oh, we love
Oh no,
that.
my stomach is still growling though. I'm really hoping nobody can hear it on camera.
We don't know that that's gonna happen. I get it. I get it.
So, like for anyone who's like doesn't know, it's like why is she not eating? So I mean I get up at midnight to start my my day job. Um and
Mm,
I'm too busy to eat while I'm working. So I've just had like water and coffee and a piece of very dry flourless toast. And
and your
and
body
then I
needs
just
to.
didn't have a chance to eat after. Yeah, so now it's like, okay, it's like, dude, you've been up forever. It's
Mm-hmm.
toward the end of your day. You haven't put food in me. And so I've been thinking about this cauliflower crust pizza or, I know
Yeah.
you're giving me that look, but
I
it'll be
maybe I'm
something.
judging. I'm
No,
judging.
no, it's not great. It's not great,
Okay,
but it's
that's good
okay.
to know. Cauliflower rice. So maybe
Right.
cauliflower pizza could be right, but
Ish.
I can't. I can't imagine.
No. I
Yeah.
don't even know if they have it. I mean, that's the thing. I don't even know if they have it. But I did make some cauliflower. I made rice cauliflower, like a stir-fried rice cauliflower thing
Okay.
yesterday
Okay.
for lunch. That was delicious
Was
with
it? What
all
did
of
you
the
put in
vegetables.
it?
What did I put in it? So, garlic. Gotta have garlic. Some ginger, some liquid aminos, for a
Mm-hmm.
little pop of that soy sauce, right?
Hmm.
Um, red onions, yellow onions, red peppers, yellow peppers. Oh, there's a theme there. And portobello mushrooms. I think that was it.
Oh,
Yeah,
do
and some
you?
tofu. An egg for protein, and tofu for protein.
That's when you don't eat meat.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. I kept hearing this. You said tofu, and then we talked about cauliflower
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Wow, that's
yeah.
a commitment.
Long
It-
time vegetarian, so I'm just like,
okay. Okay. How long?
um, ooh, I might be getting close to 15 years now.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. So, when I finally gave my life to Jesus Christ, and like for real, like for years, I thought I had already done it. I had not. I was going straight to hell. But praise Jesus for His grace. Like literally, for real, gave my life 4 years ago. And when I did, I've been in church my whole life, but people talk about fasting
Mhm.
in the biblical sense, and I had always been like, "Oh, God ain't told me to do that. I'm not missing no meals." But when I got saved for real, I
Mhm.
began fasting. Jasmine, I typically fast just no food, just water. But they have this thing called the damn not they. Okay. The Bible has we
Mhm.
call it the Daniel fast, where you only eat vegetables, fruit,
Yeah,
maybe nuts.
right.
But there's no meat. Jasmine, I tried to do the Daniel fast after doing like the no food
Mhm.
fast. That was harder to be putting food in my mouth and there was no meat on my plate than to just not eat at all. I was like, Lord, I just won't eat because this is just too much. I can't. Rarely can I have a plate and I'm supposed to eat it and there's no meat. Oh no, ma'am. So
Mm.
I have much respect for the fact that you have
Oh
mastered
my god, you
this.
sound like my grandmother. Like she was from the South, right? She was
Mhm.
born and raised in North Carolina, And for her, like there had to be a meat at every meal. And
Yeah.
so my oldest cousin, he became a vegetarian probably like 30 years or so ago, right? And that was before you had like all of these processed, vegetarian
Mm.
foods. So it was a lot harder for him. And, for like
Uh-huh.
holidays, my grandmother would cook. And, as Southern grandmothers do, you have a plate full of food and a house full of relatives. And it's really, you cook what I serve or you don't eat, you know?
Facts.
So, yeah.
Facts.
So it's like, well, can you make, some of like the green beans without the ham hock in it? Or, the collard greens without the fat back and the turkey bones and all of that.
Mhm.
And she literally said, well, if he won't eat it, he can go and graze in the backyard. Right? And it's like, whoa. And then a few years later, maybe like eight,
Mhm.
9 years or so later, my youngest cousin became a vegetarian. And it was like a dare with her father. It was because he was a huge like steak and potatoes guy, right? And he
Yeah.
was like, I dare you to go without eating meat. Like, I dare you to do it. And so she decided she was going to do it forever, right? Because it was like, I like how I feel with it. And then I come late to the party, over a decade ago. But one day, like, I became a health coach, and
Mhm.
that's kind of where like my video business started when I was a health coach, because I was doing all these different videos and everything, and people were asking me to show them how to do what I was doing, because that's
Yeah.
how I was getting a following, was by being visible on camera.
Yep.
And I was, and as part of my health coaching curriculum, they were like, you should try these different diets, like the dietary modalities. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm starting from the top, Atkins, and work my way down. I'm going to go from A to Z, like, so from Atkins to Zone. Like, that was my goal. And Atkins broke me. you know like, I was never a huge like meat lover anyway. Like, I never felt good when I ate it, but Atkins broke me. And I was maybe 3 weeks in. I was eating, and I remember this very vividly, eating a turkey burger, just the burger, right?
Mhm.
That I made myself. I was driving
Mhm.
to the chiropractor in Atlanta, in suburban Atlanta, and I'm eating this burger and I'm chewing it. And I'm like, I can't chew any more of this. I spit it out, took the whole burger, and then just threw it into the woods
Chunked it out
as
the
I'm
window.
driving. I did. I'm going 60 miles an hour down the highway, and I
Feed the
just
bird.
thing out the car. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And I have not turned back.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I called my friends over and I said, come get all this meat. Cause I went to the farmer's market and I got all of this, like, like to the butcher, and got like, I mean, because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all in.
All
Right.
in.
So
Yep.
I got all of the best cuts of this. And I said, come get all. Do you want money for it? Nope. I just want it gone.
Wow. And beginning of you going.
That, that was it. I was done.
Okay, so see, I'm not, when you were talking about it, I'm glad you explained it because I'm not familiar with all the different types. And so I'd heard of Atkins, but I didn't realize it's meat heavy. So now I understand.
Yeah. It's like, it's a high protein,
Mm.
zero to low carb
Hmm.
um diet.
Yeah.
And like, all the recipes are, meats, grilled meats, baked meats and cream, because the cream is high in protein. And it's,
It's meat.
and it's just a lot of, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Mm.
Like, I'm done.
Okay, so you're a vegetarian. And as
Hmm.
you said, when your cousin started and y'all's grandmother said, you eat or you don't, I could care less, I'm not
Yep.
changing. You mentioned that there's not a lot of, there wasn't a lot of processed food for
Hmm.
vegetarians and vegans
Yeah.
then, as there is now. So this is my thing. I recently, because I did not realize this, I
Hmm.
recently found out that vegan food, I didn't taste it. I took somebody to a vegan restaurant. I didn't eat the food. Um, yeah, I don't know that I will. I believe it's good, but I'm just going to give me all my stuff. Okay, but it's supposed to be as good as regular food now. So, but I guess my question is, like, when there wasn't all these options, weren't people just eating just vegetables and
No,
like,
you make, I mean, you can make burgers out of beans. I love me a good black bean burger. You
oh,
know, you make it's beans, mushrooms, some onions, whatever you want, and you just have a little burger. Um, you make tofu, which out of soybeans or chickpeas. So
mhm,
you have a lot of, so you don't have to eat just vegetables because you need protein. It is a little bit more challenging
mhm,
because there's so many like a lot of B vitamins are only found in animal proteins. So you take a lot of supplements too because you need to get those vitamins.
mhm,
But yeah, like kale has protein in it,
mhm.
delicious. Spinach has protein in it. You're giving me
Oh,
that
I love
look that
it.
I get. It's like,
She said delicious.
it's yummy.
I believe you. They're good, but so is a good old rib that I can. If I, oh my goodness. So my father typically barbecues,
Mhm.
and I praise God I still have him in my life. And he typically barbecues for holidays, but I don't live where my parents live,
Mhm.
so I'm not usually there with them for most of the holidays in the year, right? Like the main ones. But his barbecue, Jasmine, my best friend had it one time, and she was like, "This is the best barbecue I've ever had." And when I say barbecue, I mean he
Uh-huh.
just grills, right? But maybe it's because it's what I grew up on. I can't imagine not having a rib
Just make it out of
in my hand.
tofu. And you're good.
There are no bones
No,
in
no,
tofu.
no
You
bones.
can't. You,
No, mm-mm. But you can do tempeh,
it's just not the same.
it's got a little more heft to it.
Chris, oh, oh,
Drains.
I appreciate that there are differences in the world, and that you have more options
Yeah,
now.
yeah, you know.
Yes, because I can just go out and get a cow just down the street. We good. It's all good though. It's all good. Maybe no. I was gonna say maybe I have a fear of no. I don't. I just don't.
No,
I just want me.
this is what I mean. But you know what? And that's
Because you can say you've tried it.
what's that?
I can say you've tried it. Like you've lived a life of meat. I've not lived a
Yeah,
life without.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you
But it
right.
never served me,
You
and
have
so that was the thing. And I think part of one of the, speaking of fear, because when I was really young, probably I don't know, I think I was maybe in middle school, so like 11 or something, like 11 or 12 kind of an age. I went to visit my grandmother's or it was one of my grandparents' sisters, maybe my grandfather's sister in North Carolina. And I'm like naming the chickens because I didn't have names, right? I was all excited to be on a farm. I never been on a farm before. So I'm on this farm and I'm feeding the chickens. I'm all excited. Like my job while I was there was to feed the chickens. And so I'm looking for my favorite who would come up to me all the time because I gave them all, again, I gave them names, which apparently you
sweet.
don't do.
Yes, yes.
And I'm like, where's whatever the chicken's name was? And she's like, my aunt was like, oh, baby, you ate it last night for dinner. I that was it. I was done. Like I can't do this anymore. And so when I got home, I lived with my grandmother. And so when I got home, I'm telling my grandmother she's going to bake me chicken. And see, city girl. I grew up in Philadelphia. I'm like, chicken isn't an animal. Like there are chicken animals, but you don't eat them. Your chicken comes in a package in styrofoam in the grocery store. You know, like that's how my stupid little, city brain worked. Like the cute little chickens that you see on TV aren't for
Mhm.
food. They're cute. They're pets,
No.
you know? And
Yes.
so I told my grandmother, I'm like, I'm not eating anymore. Like I can't do this. And I already told you, she told my cousin later, go graze in the
Right.
backyard. And that's pretty much what I got too. When I'm, in middle school, I'm like, I'm not eating any more animals. And
Hmm.
she was like, no, like you. Like you either
Okay.
are going to eat what I cook or you don't eat. Like those are your choices. And so I think there was that
That
fear
is so
of starving to death because after a certain point, it's like, okay, I guess I'll eat that fried chicken you made because you know I'm
right.
hungry.
You bring up a good point though, because we so often do stuff we don't want to do
Yeah.
out of fear, right? And if you think about it, fear actually is inviting the thing that we don't want into
Hmm.
our lives, right? Like if you think about okay, you have a goal. When you read my bio,
Yeah.
corporate escapee, and you're
Yeah.
like hashtag goals. Okay, so if you
Hmm.
have a goal at some point to leave corporate America and I don't think I knew this. I like your title of your
Yeah.
business, Fear No Video.
Thank
So great. This is such good synergy. But when we think about it, okay, so you have the fear of you want to get out of corporate America. But if we give into procrastination, when we
you.
give into our feelings and not wanting to do what we're supposed to do to get to that goal, we're ultimately saying, okay, I'm inviting my fear to be the reality of my life. I'm inviting that to be my future because I'm not doing the actions that are actually going to cause me to have the life that I actually want, the future I actually want. I'm doing the actions by giving into fear that are going to make the fear that I have a reality.
Yeah.
Fear that I'll never leave corporate. Operating in that, that's what I'm going to continue that fear because I'm not doing anything to change that. So fear actually, it truly does our future hostage.
It
You didn't
does.
want to
It
start.
does. Yeah. Yeah. So, but you know what? You are like, shining some light into my brain here because I'm going to before I go to Whole Foods and feed my angry belly that's still grumbling.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
am going to work on my project and
Yes.
yes, and I'm gonna send it on over to my VAs so they can do what they need to do to help move my business forward so that I can be like you and be a corporate escapee.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love it. And your stomach is already growling, so it will just continue to
Yeah,
talk. It'll be fine for
it'll
another
just
10,
keep
15
getting louder.
minutes. It'll be good.
But it does what it does.
Mhm.
I'll give it some more orange flavored water. Um,
There you go.
yeah,
And it
it'll
will
be
be
fine.
fine. It will
All
be
right,
fine.
we have like gone
Yeah.
over our time, so I am sorry about that. But it's been a very great, interesting conversation. I'm
Fine.
going to drop our links in
Yes.
here so that way folks can know how to get in touch with you and they know how to get in touch with me. Um, and you know, so oh, it's just popping up all over the place. Okay, there we go. Um, there we go.
Make sure
Yeah,
everybody
I mean,
has
you
it.
put
Make
it
sure
in
you can
once, it
find
just
it.
popped it and it's just still scrolling. So okay. So you guys have no excuses to not find us if you need when you need
Right?
to talk
Reach
to
out.
us. And I'm loving like I'm gonna follow up with you. I'm gonna have Siri remind me because I'm getting older and forgetful, but I'm gonna have Siri remind me to send you a message on Friday to see how your video has gone because I have a 5-hour drive ahead of me. So I will have time to have Siri send a
Follow up.
message because I don't text to drive. I dictate to Siri.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yes.
that is good. That's good. Because in Georgia, we have a hands-free
We
policy.
probably have
So
one here
that's
too
good.
in Florida, but we don't have a lot of rules. So who knows? This is pretty much the wild, wild west.
Wild
Yeah.
West. Y'all, Texas and California. Just
It's like
doing your own
do
thing.
whatever you want. Just, what
Yeah,
else?
do your own thing.
So, all right. So I think we've talked about like a lot of things today. And
We,
so just one more
it's
time,
been good.
tell folks about your achievement accelerated accountability club. See my chicken scratch handwriting. I still can't read it. Um, so bring it
It's
on.
all good.
30 seconds. What you got?
I will say yes. If you have a goal that you have been talking about, pretending like you are working toward, putting on your to-do list over and over and over and moving it forward? Jasmine, you're not the only one. I've done that too. If you are doing that with some goal in your life or multiple goals, and you just know that, okay, you're not getting it done, and you can admit that it's not because you're lazy, it's not because you don't want it, it's just because there's not a sense of urgency or accountability. You need to check out the Accelerator Achievement Accountability
Oh, I
Club.
had it
And
backwards.
so you
Sorry.
can find you might be right. It's still new. I told you, we're still working on the name. But you can find it, and you can find me through the links that Jasmine dropped. But join, come get on the wait list. Put your name on the wait list because, like I said, I'm putting it together. It's an idea forming, so I'm gauging interest, and so I have a wait list open. And what it's going to do for you is it's going to put you and pair you with people who are going to keep you accountable multiple times a week, so that you can finally, as we were just talking about, fully grab hold of the future that you want, because that goal is the future that you want, and it's another step toward the future that you want. And so you need some accountability to help you do that. We accelerate your achievement with that accountability. So that's where it comes from. So yes, come join.
All right, awesome. Well, Kaneshi Hart, thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching this week's midweek chat. Next week, we are, I think next week we're talking about mompreneurs. So that'll be really, really exciting. Like how to balance your business with, starting and having a fulfilling family. So
Yeah,
that'll be
totally.
great. Yay.
Thank you for having me. This has been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will see you guys next time.